Welcome to today's topic, exploring thoughts, feelings, and emotions in a communication setup. We'll define these words first. A thought is a weak energy field in the mind. I read somewhere that average about 50,000 thoughts flow in a human body in a day. Feelings are something you experience and to external stimuli. Somebody tells you something and you feel annoyed or irritated or exultant. It could last for 10 minutes. I remember the day when I got my first writing job at Times of India. I got the phone call. I was in a road outside in Bombay waiting for the station, in a suburban station. And when somebody said, you've been selected for the job, I almost jumped up and I was in a flood of joy flowing through me. It lasts for 10 minutes. It doesn't last forever. The typical example is you get up in the morning, mother or wife gives you coffee, you feel irritated because sugar is not there, milk is burnt. Then you go to office, your boss said a good word or bad word, you get affected. For 10 to 15 minutes, you really feel very affected. And these are something the external trigger, a stimulus, does to you something to you inside. It makes you happy or sad, jealous, intimidated, feeling superior, or whatnot. An emotion is something which is a long duration thought in your mind. It comes with a lot of feelings when stabilized and resides in your mind for a long time. Those are emotions. Grief. Imagine a family member passing away. The grief could last for 2 to 3 minutes. It's a raw wound for next 2 to 3 months. Or your daughter is not getting married. 2 to 3 years it's been postponing for some reason or the other. You really feel sad. Or you're looking for your son's IIT exam and he has failed. And you're worried about his future. And you need very little stimulus from outside to bring it to the surface. This is a constant shruti, like a tambura thing. This issue bugs your mind. And I dare say that everybody has a basic emotion to which they revert back to. If you're very aggressive, you come back to that aggression. You react to every outside stimuli with that intrinsic quality. You could have a inferiority complex. You could have a lot of shame. Shame is an emotion. Or you could have a feeling of being deprived, have a chip on your shoulder, that kind of a thing. So every person has a basic wiring. It's a software. You always come back to that equilibrium. And everybody, I would rather say, some child are very aggressive, some babies are very timid, some babies are very scared. The same thing happens even while growing up. There's a basic, and you need to find out what is your basic emotion in life. So difference between feelings and emotion. I said one is external trigger, one is inner conditioning. One is a short duration feelings, 10 to 15 minutes. There's a spike in your thought energy field. Grief could happen, you could go on for weeks, months and years. It could end up in depression, clinical depression and whatnot. So emotions, you need to be very careful. And I'll give you two. You must have a nice metaphor or a visual to understand this. Feelings are something like written on sand near a shoreline. The first one wave or two waves, it's washed out. But emotions are something like chiseled in rock. No amount of water, no amount of rain, years together, the wound could still hurt you. Remember, first time I went to my father-in-law's place, he never even asked me to sit, he never even gave me a coffee. That might have happened in 1968, and after 50 years, you're still saying this to your great-grandson. That is the power of emotions. And between thought, feeling, and emotion, this is my favorite example to give, Dhoni. And if you were to go to an Eskimos are people who in Alaska, I think, North Americans, Canada border, you go to a person there, typical Eskimo, and tell him, Dhoni is a great cricketer or a wicket keeper. He will say, what? Dhoni? Cricket? I don't know, what the hell are you speaking about, man? Are you mad? For him, it's a thought. It's of no consequence to him. Or you're just planning a thought. There's a game called cricket, there's a guy called Dhoni. And you say, okay. Not much interested. But if you were to say Dhoni, to a CSK fan, Dhoni is getting old, he should retire now, or he should give up captaincy, that guy would react could react hyper. He could agree with you instantly, or he would say, get lost, man, you don't know what Dhoni has done. I mean, for him it's a thought which is an emotion, it's a feeling for him. Whenever it's stoked, he will come with that. Whenever you're stoked about Modi or Rahul Gandhi, you would come with that. It's a feeling. And you erupt to an external stimuli. So the CSK guy would make an instant friendship with me or instant enemy with me, depending on this sentence that I'm saying. And Dhoni, if you were to tell his wife or his family members, his parents, that Dhoni should retire now, they would have a heart attack. They would have a sleepless night. They hear such voices rapidly. The thing, when he's batting, his mother's in the puja room. Four laga to theek hai. Oh, everybody's celebrating. Mother's in the puja room, extra flower. And Dhoni's out. Look at God. Oh, next time, man. Next time, God help me, my son, and etc. etc. Emotions. That is emotions. Right? So I hope this demarcation between thought, a weak energy field, feelings. You experience something intensely for a brief time, 10 to 15 minutes, and we go through about half a dozen to a dozen feelings in a day. Irritated, exulted, somebody gives you a smile, you smile back, an old friend calls up, you feel excited to talk to the person after 5 years, 10 years. Something happens in the course of the day that makes you happy, sad, jealous, or you see a pretty girl, you get infatuated for 10, 15 minutes, or whatever it is. And emotion, your long-standing problem. These are the karmic things coming from birth to birth, which is your mental conditioning. I'm not good enough, I'm worthless, I'm superior to other people, I'm in a poor country, I mean this country does mean. There are a lot of things boiling inside. And if you know somebody else's emotion, what triggers them inside, you can almost push their buttons and you can do it. You can in fact have an experiment. You could pull their strings like what is that thing called? Puppet show. So here are a few examples, like just to emphasize this point. Casual conversation, you say, I like Jyotika's dress, Jyotika the actor, and that's a thought. The movie was horrible. You spend 3 hours, you spend some money, 500 rupees, and you say, horrible, it's a feeling. My wife is admitted to Vijaya Hospital for a heart surgery. That's something like that. That could put you off for 2 or 3 months. It's an emotion, sadness, anticipation. You're just looking, you're worried. For the next 2 to 3 months, your entire thought is fixated on hospital, doctors, cardiologists, anesthesiologists, pharmacy. You're running around all the test reports. That's an emotion. You could have. Okay, this is a favorite example of mine. Due to heavy rains, I skidded and fell on the road. It's a feeling or an emotion. But the same thing happening to other people is just information. If I were to say the same thing, due to heavy rains, Ajay skidded and fell on the road. It's just information. It's just a thought for you. But if it's your brother falling on the road, it's a feeling for you. And if it is you fall, it's an emotion for you. So depending on what the outside world of characters mean to you, you can divide them into thoughts, feelings, and emotion. And they are different for each person. What is a thought for one person could be a feeling for other. I could give an example. I don't watch any Tamil movies or Hindi movies. So for me, Shah Rukh Khan is just a thought. He is short, fat, he dances well, I don't care. But for many people in the guys who've been following his Dil Hai Chahta Hai, Dil Mangta Hai, whatever, Dil Gil and all that, for him, Shah Rukh Khan, Arey bhai, first day, first show, feeling for him. And so what is a thought for me is a feeling for somebody. And emotion, it's very personal field. Let's define emotion to restrict it to family members, your job, your career, where it impacts you on a sustainable, durable basis, sustainable basis. If I don't get a salary next month, I'm affected. Deep sorrow for me. For my brother, it's a feeling. For somebody else, your neighbor, 10 houses block, 10 blocks away, information, you'll say Satya lost his job, unemployment is rising by 15%, so let's be careful. He has no thought for me. Another example, you look at the obituary columns in a newspaper, that's information, that's a thought for you. But your friend or uncle in the obituary column, you would call it, and that would disturb you for some time, half an hour at least. Feeling for you, emotion, something in your household, dread. 2 to 3, your next 2 to 3 months are gone. So we have really compared this. So, and we need to know this well if we can handle our communication better. And you can draw up a scale. You have no opinions, neutral. Don't need to escape. What would be a neutral opinion? Like or dislike. That's a feeling of, say, in a 5-point scale, 0 would be a center position, +1 or -1 either side. Dhoni is a asset to CSK, Dhoni is a liability to CSK. Dislike and like. Hate is +2 and -2. Love is +2. I would say, my God, I love this Tirupati Laddu. You know, what else? What could we love? I love my dog. I mean, a dog. It's something you love. I hate something. What could you hate? You wouldn't say, I hate nepotism. Nepotism would be a feeling. It's a general topic. But hate, your loss of job would be a hate. You're so troubled by your wife, you want to divorce her. That would be hate, real hate. Or somebody dumps you in a relation, real hatred. So all our lives, we have anything that we have, thought, feeling, and emotion, could easily be placed in this 5-point scale. -1, +1, likes and dislike, +2, -2, love and hate. And there's a range of everything that you say. It's an energy field in the mind. As long as the thoughts flow, it's like water flowing in a brook, a lake. They don't impinge on you, but once they start to stagnate, and then you breed dengue and malaria and all that. So flowing thoughts is not a problem. Feelings and emotion, they define your life, everyday life. Emotion, they define your life to what I get emotional with. So very important. So we also saw that what is a thought for one could be a feeling, and emotions we also know something very close to your heart that affects you, the welfare of yourself and your very close family members. We could say that as emotions. And then we get into, we should know how this thing works. Getting definition is fine, but how does it work? The advertising industry uses this very well. So when the first iPod came, you'll have a Katrina Kaif or a Jyotika or a Simran or somebody, an actor, Amitabh Bachchan. First time you see an ad, it's just a thought basis. Repeatedly you see it 10 times, 20 times in the course of a month. After a time you go to a shop, you only buy that. And that's the reason when a campaign is on, say Motorola is running a campaign or Nokia is running a campaign, summer sale, repeated, everywhere you see danglers, everywhere you see hoardings, everywhere TV, radio, everywhere you have the same campaign again and again. And those brands at that point of time when the advertising is highest would have the most sales. So what sort of thought, keep on bombarding them, it turns into feelings. And we can make use of it in a positive way. Instead of making other people buy your products, you could also look at yourself and say, I have these bad thoughts in my mind, let me use positive affirmations. Let me say something good thing about me. I'm trustworthy, I'm respectworthy, I love myself, I support myself. Even though you're in the thick of the worst depression. And slowly these thoughts, which you have introduced as thoughts, they keep growing in strength. You do it daily. At a certain point of time, it really turns you around. You start believing in the thoughts that you have planted. Repetition of thoughts, you can change a mind which is soaked in negativity into a bit of positiveness. So, and listening comes when people are besieged by feelings, other people are besieged by feelings and emotions. You never rationalize both of them. If somebody were to come to you and say, my wife had a heart attack and she's admitted to Vijay Hospital, that's not the time for you to say Apollo Hospital is better, or I know Girinath on a personal basis, Dr. Girinath or Dr. Devi Shetty, you can't, or the worst example, this is a typical example, when somebody is dead, you go and pay your condolences. You're not going to ask them how did they die, what happened. If they give you, you hear it. And so in most of these cremation scenes and death scenes, people don't talk at all. They're scared to talk because they don't want something upsetting to happen. And people are in their most vulnerable state, the people who are affected. And to say something at that point of totally ill-timed remark or a thoughtless remark, that could hurt them for a long time. So in such situations, you just keep your mouth, you just keep quiet. So one of the basic rules of communication is you never meet a feeling or an emotion with a thought. When somebody is having high degree of energy output in the mind, you listen to them carefully. They only want support, they want empathy, they don't want reason, they don't want explanations. And where does these thoughts, feelings and emotions happen? They happen in the mind. Where is the mind? It's not in your brain. Brain has a neurosystem, what is that? A lot of circuitry, neural circuitry happening, hypothalamus. It's not located, all these things. Wherever you feel body sensations in the body, that's the reason when you feel fear, you feel your gut of your stomach, you feel something happening, or you even feel a stomach upset, or you rush to the bathroom. I remember my father, when he heard the news of his brother had an accident in Calcutta, the telegram came, the first thing he said, something's happening to the thing, and he went to the toilet. So all these things happen in the body, sensations. We finally come to this example, Arjuna and Krishna. Arjuna was a very confident man. He had all